What drives someone to commit a crime that shakes the very foundations of human morality? Let's delve into a chilling tale of such a crime.
Just unnecessary, very non-Ubuntu-like, if I may put it like that. Things that you would never think a human would be able to do or even think of doing.
The perpetrator? A man named Tinos Chimedze, a 35-year-old Zimbabwean national.
South Africa is challenged. It's found in a place that is very, very challenged, considering how our neighboring country is Zimbabwe, and we find ourselves wanting to throw stones, at another national. But that's just because one particular person from a particular place does not necessarily mean every single person in that exact place is exactly like that one. However, we magnify that particular problem simply because that person is not from South Africa, is not a South African citizen, which is quite sad because we have quite a lot of people who are South African citizens that continue to do crime in this particular way and even more. But because it is our brothers and sisters or they're from South Africa, okay, then let's rather talk about the crime and not where they come from. And that's quite interesting. And I think that is slightly double standards, according to me.
His actions, abhorrent and unthinkable, have left an indelible mark on the lives of 3 innocent children and an entire community. Chimedze, in a monstrous act of depravity, violated 3 minors, 2 of them only 10 and 1 barely 11.
We find this story being so painful and so sad simply because we're talking about children who have no power to say anything or do anything about situations if they do not even understand. We're raised to take care of everyone else around us. Black people know the importance of generally being family, even when you're not real family from a blood perspective. And at some point, I do think it's also because it's human for you to treat kids like they're kids and not expose them to things they're not ready for, especially considering the fact that we are talking about kids and a pedophile.
This heinous crime was committed in Modimolle XT13, a place that should have been a sanctuary for these young souls.
As a person who is from Limpopo, I do know Modimolle very well. Definitely in the heart of Modimolle, it's in the heart of South Africa's Limpopo province, where I come from. Modimolle is quite an interesting place, a very small place, and it was once known as Unelstrom. A very small town steeped in the rich tapestry of Africans. And I do know we used to stop there for a drink or for food when you're using a bus from Guyana to Johannesburg. It's definitely nestled near the southern fringes of Waterberg. It's an interesting place to have such sad things happen simply because it's quite a beautiful place that could produce so much good or spring out the greatest of things. Approximately 573 kilometers away from Harare. This man called Tino decided, you know what, I'm going to move from Zimbabwe. I am going to come to South Africa. I do not know if his plan was to stay here or if he was born here or whatever the case may be, but if he's a Zimbabwe national, I'm assuming he was definitely born there.
The gravity of his offense was mirrored in his sentencing. 3 consecutive life terms were handed down, a testament to the severity of his actions, and a clear message to society about the commitment to protect its most vulnerable members.
We have a rural place, a village, whereby children are taught from a very young age to respect the old people. They're taught from a very young age that whoever you see in the street that is older than you, whether it's your parent or not your parent, you must respect them, you do not speak badly of them.
Yet one cannot help but wonder, with a sense of dread and morbid curiosity, but how did these atrocious acts come to light? How do you react when you uncover a hidden horror?
And just by such teachings, it's very easy for you to find yourself as a parent being in between whether your child is going to tell you that someone did something wrong to them, or whether the child is just going to keep quiet because they are assuming that whatever the person who is old did is potentially normal and natural, because they've been taught to nest around the respect and understanding the fact that it's very important for you to respect older people.
In the aftermath of the horrendous assaults, the victims, 3 children of tender age, were sent to a local victim empowerment facility. This wasn't just a place of refuge, it was a sanctuary, a beacon of hope in the midst of the darkness that had befallen their young lives.
And it makes it very sad because I don't think villagers and people who are living at home think there would be a predator that comes and changes everything for their lives. And that's just because there is a certain way that they've been living that never created some form of red flags. And now here is this person, and this person is doing this.
It was here that their dreadful secret was finally revealed, the horrifying truth that would set in motion the wheels of justice. Imagine the tremendous courage it took for these 3 children to disclose the crimes committed against them. Each word spoken, each detail recounted, would have been like reliving the nightmare, the pain, and the fear. But they did it. They faced their fear and spoke out.
I personally do not see it as being human for you to get to such a point.
Their bravery led to the arrest of Tinos Chimedze, bringing an end to his reign of terror. Just consider the chain of events their disclosure set off, the law enforcement officers who sprang into action, the court proceedings that followed, the verdict, and finally, the sentencing. It was a long, arduous journey, but justice was served. But what does such a severe sentence tell us about the society we live in? What happens to a community when its trust is shattered? When an unthinkable crime reverberates through the heart of a neighborhood, the aftershocks are felt long after the initial incident.
Limpopo province is a very beautiful province with beautiful people who are very respectable, who understand their history, who really are supportive towards each other, very, very close-knit people who would like to obviously assist everyone that's around. And therefore, I'm not shocked that this happened in such a particular place. I'm just praying and hoping that Limpopo does not become Gauteng, because honestly, in most cases, when you find certain things and you see them happening, at times you are just thinking it might be because of the influence, the influence that is in Johannesburg, or someone is coming here and they see certain things being done and they say, I'm going home, let's see if it's going to work or not. And obviously, when you're at home in Limpopo, it's less likely that we'll catch you quickly. And we won't catch you quickly because we're not used to such predators. I'm not saying it's an amazing place that has no crime and stuff like that, but I do know of the fact that I have seen many other places that are very bad, way more worse than where I come from, which is in Limpopo. And I just hope that we do not have such a thing happen again.
The community of Modimolle XT13 experienced this firsthand. Their sense of safety and trust fractured by the actions of one man, Tinos Chimedze. The shock and outrage were palpable as the residents grappled with the harsh reality that such a heinous act had occurred in their midst. Yet, it was the severity of Chimedze's sentencing that sent a clear message.
One thing I must say and agree on is the fact that I'm very happy about the fact that he got three life sentences for this young children, and that's just because of how it basically happened. He's not going to come out of jail. Basically, I don't know if it's concurrent or if it's one after another, but regardless of however it is.
3 consecutive life terms were meted out, each one a stark reminder of the gravity of his crimes. This was more than just punishment. It was a declaration, a societal commitment to protecting the most vulnerable among us. It was a signal that such transgressions would not be taken lightly, that justice, though sometimes delayed, would not be denied. But the ripple effects continued to spread. The community had to confront not only the crime itself, but also the arduous task of rebuilding trust. It was a sobering reminder of how one individual's actions can cast a long, dark shadow over an entire community. Yet in the face of such a grim reality, what keeps hope alive? In the darkest of times, where do we find light? In the aftermath of such a heinous crime, we find a beacon of hope in the strength and resilience of the victims. These young souls, though scarred, have shown a courage that defies their tender years.
That we do not have such a thing happen. Again, one of the reasons why I love sharing these stories and love putting them out there is because children don't have a voice. They don't have a voice and they do not know the right from the wrong. If an old person tries by all means to make sure they give them the benefit of the doubt, considering the fact that this is right, you want the child to believe that there's no problem in it. That's why it's easy for the child to just talk about it anyway, anyhow, in whichever other way.
Their disclosure led to the arrest of the perpetrator, their bravery serving as a testament to the indomitable spirit of the human will. The community too stands as a pillar of support, rallying around these children, ensuring they don't stand alone. Their unity, their shared outrage, their collective empathy, is a powerful statement against such inhuman acts.
And unfortunately, other children do talk but never receive the important listening skill from whoever is old or whoever is their guardian. And that's just because maybe the child is, I don't know, for example, they're very naughty, they're very playful. And I'm just hoping that as a society, things change. They change for our children, they change for the future, they change because it is important for us to put a magnifying glass and definitely watch out for things that can.
Justice system, often criticized, here stands tall. The sentencing of the criminal to 3 consecutive life terms is a stern message, a commitment to protecting the most vulnerable members of our society. This verdict is not just a punishment, but a promise of justice, of protection, of a safer tomorrow.
Or a sentencing, it still becomes a bit of a problem because at the end of the day, the children's lives are destroyed. You may not see it now, you may not see it whenever, but whenever it comes out, I just hope and pray that it doesn't come out by being multiplied, to other people in the exact same way that they felt very violated or being hurt. And I hope that they get the necessary help and assistance that they need with regards to every single thing that is happening currently.
And then there are the victim empowerment facilities, the unsung heroes. These facilities play an invaluable role in the healing process, offering victims a safe haven to recover and reclaim their lives. They provide the necessary support to empower victims, enabling them to transform from survivors into warriors. While we cannot erase the past, we can strive for a future where such horrors are a distant memory.
That can look like they're not attacking us, but they attack how we grew up. They attack our cultural beliefs, which then obviously then completely attacks us as people. And we start changing from how we were to people we don't even recognize ourselves. From people who love every single person to people who just do not even want people to come into your house and give you and give them water simply because you're not sure if they're really thirsty or if they're there to kill you. That is a very sad situation and a very sad society that we continue to live in. And I hope that even in such a story, even in such a reminiscing of the worst, and even in, yes, I would say the police have done their job by making sure there is a conviction. And yes, guys, if you have any other thing to say, I'll be more than happy to listen to what you have to say. But that is it for today for our story. Thank you.